Okay. Are we live?
We are live, and we're going to start the actual stream now.
Okay, so
Alright. Welcome
hi
back,
guys.
Hello.
In case you've just joined, we're going to be streaming some episode 2 beta content today, and we're also joined by a special guest. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello. In case you didn't catch me first time, I'm Vic. I used to do LambdaGeneration and Podcast 17 and Steamcast. Thanks once again for having me on, guys.
Yeah, and he is also a huge beta fan, and he also an old member of our community. I mean, of our site. By the way, if you still don't know, we have a site which is actually the first thing that came up back in 2006. Its address is HL2-beta.ru, and we would like, I mean, if you're interested in Half-Life 2 and other series games, beta content, you can visit our site and you can find pretty much everything you need there.
Yeah, we'll also be putting the files of the maps that we're playing here on HL2-beta.ru. So that's the website that we are streaming for today. That is our site. And I would like to make you guys aware of Alex in the chat. He is the creator of the mod that we're going to be playing today. So big shout out to him.
He's the creator of one of the mods, because
yeah, it's one of the mods. We're going to be playing
2 mods.
Yeah, we're going to be playing more than one mod today. 2 mods, guys. So we
The second mod we're going to be playing is going to be the one created by Alex.
Yes.
So the other people we have here in streaming, we've got Vitoy, and we have
Hello.
Lambda Videos.
Hi guys.
Myself,
AKA
XJR9000, and Vic from previous works of LambdaGeneration.
LambdaGeneration.com.
Hello.
Alright, so let's get this rolling. We're going to start with this first mod.
We are ready to go, I think. Also, hello to Bollocks in the chat. Rock Builder 57, nice to see you again, man. It's been a while. Coursey. And we are playing the game.
Alright, so the first mod we will be playing is called Half-Life 2 Episodes Collection, Episodes Beta Collection. Sorry, I forgot his name. I will check pretty soon. And it was just recently he released a new version of his mod on ModDB.
Turret Theo, is it?
Yes.
Turret Theo.
Right. And you can find his mod on ModDB, and pretty soon you will be able to find this mod also on our site. We just didn't have much time to upload it yet, but we will, maybe even today. And what his mod is just few. Well, I will start from the beginning, because in case if you didn't know, last year there was a major leak of Half-Life 2 episodes maps, and not just episodes, but mainly it's episodes of Half-Life 2. And the thing is, some of those maps were kind of in broken state because of the lack of models, scripts, scenes, and stuff like that. So what Turret Theo made is he brought some of those maps in the working condition, and you will be able to see his work right now on our stream.
So the first mod we are playing is going to be the Half-Life 2 Episode 2 Beta Collections. After that we'll be playing the Episode 2 2006 Beta mod. Alright, so let's go ahead and start this first one.
Oh, hold on. We got a message from the map creator here, or the mod creator, the turret Theo. He says, "It looks like you're playing the old 1.4 version. I updated the mod to 1.6.1."
Oh, well,
I could do it really quick.
we just didn't know.
I can get it really quick.
Yeah, we can get it really quickly.
Can you send me a link?
Yeah. Theo, if you could send us the link to the updated mod, we can install that really quickly.
Oh, I've got it. 1 second.
Okay.
There you go.
And in the meantime, I guess we'll just answer viewer questions whilst that's getting installed. So if anyone has any questions about Half-Life 2 beta stuff, today we're covering episodic content, so questions should be focused on the episodic stuff if that's okay with you guys. So if there's anything you want to ask us, feel free to ask it in the chat. And soon we'll have the updated version of the mod installed. Yeah, 1.6.1 is a patch, so we need the 1.6 version too.
Yeah, I sent both in.
Cool.
So Scott's downloading them now, I think.
All right.
Well, it appears it's a good thing we didn't yet upload it on the site. So we will upload the updated version on the site today or tomorrow.
Yeah,
Or
you haven't missed anything, Wolfblock. Talk about the history of the episodic leaks. Oh, yeah, sure. I don't have all the details. I'm sure another one of the
Well, all right.
people we're streaming with.
I can tell some history.
Yeah, sure.
Well, probably the actual first sort of incidence of the leak was the preload stuff that accidentally got dropped and was kind of discovered last year, I think.
No.
So all the
we can say that the first things were those Android port maps that were found in Android port of Half-Life.
Yeah, the NVIDIA Shield Android port of
Yeah.
Half-Life 2.
It happened back in
Portal,
2012, I think.
Yeah, 2012, and they had the style guide maps.
Yeah, mainly style guide maps, and also
What?
when it happened.
Yeah, pretty
So-
sure it was a big Steam pipe update.
Only few maps were found back then, and people had no clue what this Wasteland Combat map was about. But
Yeah, if I recall correctly, some people thought there was like an episode 3 teaser ARG or something.
so after that, back in 2015, I think, first signs of the info about that Valve's repo appeared. So what happened is, if you're some team of people who are making mods on source, or you were in team of developers who are making game on source, and you received source engine from Valve for free, or you
Paid for license.
bought the license of source. In that case, Valve would give you an access to their so-called repo, where the stuff, some stuff they made for Half-Life 2 and episodes were stored, like sources of some of the models, sources of maps. So it was made to show the developers how they build stuff on source, and so they could see it themselves and try to recreate or to do it like the same way. And so as soon as Half-Life 2 mods teams found out what was behind, in that repo, well, they started to share the info about it with some people, like their friends and other guys. well, some of them also shared this info with us, for example, and that's basically how few people knew about the repo first. And then what started next is some of the people who knew about the repo, they started asking those guys who had access for those files, because they wanted to kind of test them themselves and to see how they would look like in game. And well, it appeared some of those mod teams shared those files, and that's how those files appeared in, well, we may say wrong hands, because by sharing those files, the guys who had a license or who had access to a repo, they kind of broke the NDA by Valve. So, well, initially, I mean, after all, in the end, some of those files appeared released publicly, and this is a short story about how the leaks happened. I don't know, maybe some of the guys can add something.
I don't know. I don't want to add anything necessarily.
Well,
that's pretty much the long and short of it.
The thing I can say by myself is, well, almost everything that was in the repo interesting, it was released publicly.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know that some people believe that there are lost models, like a certain citizen model,
other
but
stuff,
it's not. I feel like we would have seen it. We would have definitely have seen it.
Trust me, if there would be a gas mask inside that repo, it would be the first thing that would leak. But unfortunately, there wasn't.
And it would have leaked already too.
Actually, there was almost no stuff belonging to pre-released versions of Half-Life 2 in that repo, except for Cremator source, Elite Soldier source model.
The Bull Squid, but it's possible that the Bull Squid was for episode 2 or something.
So the new version of this mod no longer has a new game button. It only has a bonus maps button.
Okay. So I guess we wanna. Okay, so hang on, let me ask the dude. What's his name? Theo, do you know how we actually? Do you actually know how we launched the game? We don't. We only have a bonus maps option.
Scott, do you have 1.6 or 1.6.1?
1.6 and 1.61. It's the 1.6 base with it patched.
Let's press bonus map.
Yeah, we'll see what's on there.
Yeah. So I guess that's how it works.
Yeah, probably.
Because what's the point of the new game anyway? If it's just a library, it is a library of compiled maps, nothing else.
So should we try this one?
Yes.
That's yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna start with this map.
So this map is the original finale for episode 1, before it was changed to the current form in the retail game. Infinity Potato in the chat asks, were there interesting leaks related to Half-Life series in this year? I don't think so. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yes, because after the last year leaks, they'll just closed the repo for some people who were involved in the leaks, and also they removed pretty much stuff from the repo itself. And there's the little interesting that still was in the repo unleaked. Well, we lost access to it by any means.
Yeah, I would say that if you guys are hoping to see any more leaks in future, and kind of forget about it. I think now Valve realizes that cut content is the thing in the repo that gets stolen the most. So it's now up to the community to basically do recreations of models that we don't have instead of thinking they're going to be in the repo.
Which is nothing new. I mean, people working on Half-Life 2 beta content have been doing this for an incredibly long time.
Yeah.
For sure.
By the way, the gameplay of this map was released on our channel a while ago. It was fixed. I mean, the video on the video on our channel, it was fixed by Oddog, and here I think it was released by Turret Viewer himself. But so what this map is the old version of last maps of episode 1. And in case if you don't know, I mean if you didn't see the gameplay of this map yet, well, it's what the hospital building looked like. I mean the end of it. Back in I don't even know from what time this map is. But it is pretty old.
April 2006. That's off the top of my head.
Okay, so we've got some stuff in the chat. The first thing is, does anybody have the E3 2004 citizen models? And now,
No.
as far, yeah, the only remnants there are, I believe, have already been found.
The only thing belonging to 2004 Citizen that we have is the texture that was leaked in 2016.
Yeah. Some people have fitted the textures to the retail Citizen, but it doesn't look quite right.
Yeah, but it
looks
does
strange.
fit the corpse. The corpse.
Yeah, it fits the charged, was it cheapo or something? Oh, also we should turn the game volume down. Some people are having difficulties in hearing us. Wolf Clock asks, why does Valve care at this point? If it's cut content, they're not doing anything with it in the first place. If it makes the fans happy, they should let us have it. Well, I mean, you never know. In episode 3, we could have cremators. We probably won't, but there is that chance. And so I think the reason they don't give out cut content is because they could repurpose it in future games. Like, we know how, for example, the Combine Assassin's boots were later reused as the Longfall boots in Portal and stuff like that. So they keep it closed off in the hope that they might use it in future someday. And also, there's also the issue with when beta content is leaked, it's theft of intellectual property. It's not like giving the fans a free gift.
Yeah, exactly.
That stuff has to be cleared before it's released, and they can't just give out everything.
Yeah, what irritated Valve was probably that this happened without them having any idea, and they probably had to investigate it. They had to lose a lot of productivity, a lot of time figuring out who leaked this.
Can you go back to the road and show the booth? So the interesting thing about this booth is that it actually the prefab for this booth was used in Half-Life 2 initially, and we would see it on Coast chapter on D2 Coast, I think 05 map.
Yeah, the one with the gas station that explodes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one on the stream.
Scott should show you the booth right now, the screenshot of it from Half-Life 2 beta. It's basically the same booth, except the area where where the guy was supposed to hide is not on the left, but in the middle. But in the end, it was cut both from Half-Life 2 and Episode 1.
So now you can see that on stream there.
So pretty soon we're probably going to see it in CSGO or something.
Yeah.
By the way, this map is called Train Test 03, I think, and it's from the 4th of October 2005.
And the screenshot appeared on the bottom of the... Oh, all right. Now it appeared correctly.
I already showed it a while ago.
Yeah,
You
I know.
should be watching my screen. I'll tell you when it shows up. Because you're going to be talking with us, so it's synced with the stream, not synced with what
Alright.
you can see.
So another interesting thing about this map, I mean of this version of the final map of episode 1 is that this is it was separated on 2 maps in the final version of episode 1. In this version, both train station yard and train station with the final sequence of Citadel destruction was everything was on the same map, and later they decided to separate it on 2.
Keep your heads down.
And as you can see, we would be able to be near the train car when refugees enter it. But there's a trigger, I mean a clip, so we can't go inside ourselves. And by the way, notice the old design of train car, because later it was replaced with the model, and here I think it's made of brushes with combined with model.
Yeah, and I think it's the same
also,
train car from Half-Life 2.
Yeah, from Half-Life 2 intro.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in chat, the true citizen of City 17 says, "Is Mega Patch 4 okay?"
It is, trust me.
Yeah, it'll be here eventually. It'll be here pretty soon.
Yes.
Well, not even pretty soon.
Now we finally do have final version of Alex model. I mean 2002 Alex model with all animations and stuff. And all we have to do is to add some minor things, test it, and finally create an installer for the patch. And it will be released pretty soon. Well, a matter of weeks, definitely.
Another thing that's interesting about this map, sorry if this has been mentioned already, is that it's the same. The train station has the same design as the train station from the Half-Life 2 intro. But presumably it's not the same train station. Maybe it was used as a placeholder or something.
Well, it is obviously not the same train station.
Because we should be seeing Kleiner's lab right where Gordon is right now.
It's just another part of town.
Yeah.
It's weird how City 17 appears to have 2 train stations.
It's a really big metropolis.
Yeah. What causes the props to be full bright in some maps? I'm
Someone
pretty
didn't
sure
build
that's
cube maps when they powered this
Yeah.
map.
Are there cube maps in the actual map files, or?
If there's not, it still wouldn't matter. You still build them, and they won't be
Okay.
right.
Alright.
Whoa. Okay.
Whoa.
Could it have something to do with the fact that this is running on a different version of the engine?
Potentially, yeah.
What the heck is going on with the physics?
Yeah, something strange is happening. That shotgun appears to have appears to have some kick to it.
Try to shoot from machine gun.
Oh yeah.
We've got you covered.
Okay.
Try to shoot cars.
Mhm.
It will be funny.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay.
I mean, use Barney's turret.
Okay, they're safe. Go for another.
And yeah, there's something wrong with physics on this map. What? He doesn't give it?
Did you press use on him? It's not bad. Oh shit.
Alex in the chat asking, can you everything about Half-Life 2 Aftermath add-on? If I'm understanding correctly, basically Half-Life 2 Aftermath was the original title for episode 1. And in, I believe, late 2005, it was renamed to episode 1. But basically, Aftermath was episode 1. And it's possible that it was supposed to be bigger and contain parts of episode 2.
There are rumors that Aftermath contained both episode 1 and episode 2, and even possibly episode 3. But well, I don't think so. But
yeah, I don't think so.
That first. Episode 1 was renamed, Aftermath. Half-Life 2 Aftermath was renamed into Half-Life 2 Aftermath Episode 1. Yeah. That's the initial name for Episode 1. And only after
it would have been a way better title than the one we actually got.
Does that mean that Half-Life 2 Episode 2 is officially titled Half-Life 2 Aftermath Episode 2?
It'd be Episode 1.
Well,
technically, yeah.
At some point it was named so.
Okay.
Yeah, there's, I think, what are you talking about, Kirill, is an old map, Episode 1 intro, and it had the title card for Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Aftermath, Episode 1.
The true citizen of City 17 asks, will there be 2002 maps stream? Yes, it will be, but first we will need to fix the maps for it. And I still don't have time for it, unfortunately.
It's going to be a lot of work, but maybe we'll get something done in the next, I guess you could say, it'll be months, I think. Just at a guess.
It'll be done already, but that's just it. I don't work on it at the moment. I don't have time.
Plus, we like to have all of the English-speaking people at once, and you know, I'm not particularly busy, but the other guys are busy a lot, so it depends on when we're all free to do streams and things like that. So it's going to take a while to do a 2002 stream because that's like a good couple hours of streaming, maybe even longer. So.
Oh, I just killed that Simpson.
Blockbuilder57 asks, were there any episode 3 or episode 4 maps that could be identified? No, there was pretty much no kind of
I think there was
content, but there was a map for the original episode 4 called Style Guide Ravenholm from Junction Point's version of episode 4, yes. Which was Warren Spector's studio, which was contracted in 2005 to do episode 4, centered on Ravenholm before the events of Half-Life 2.
And by the way, we will show you this map in the stream.
And that's pretty much the only map for episode 4 that was leaked, and it's not the same episode 4 that Arcane later ended up doing after Junction.
What about the dog map? I think there was a map where Dog had a scavenger AI thing. I think that was for episode 3, wasn't it? Or Half-Life 3?
Yeah, it's very possible that that was for some kind of pitch or version of episode 3 that Ken Birdwell was working on, yeah. It's in a folder called Simply Experiments.
Mm-hmm. So,
some guys asking about birds. Well, it appears Ben lives in the forest.
Yes, I have a microphone that picks up everything apart from my voice. It picks up birds, it picks up keyboards, it picks up my chair doing this. It doesn't pick up my voice properly, so I don't know. I think I'll have to get a new microphone if we're going to be streaming more often. But
yes, but also you live in the forest. I know.
Yeah, I do. I just have like a little wood cabin and a computer and a fridge, and that's just kind of my life. It's okay. It's okay.
Because life is the forest in the beta.
Yeah, exactly. It's even really simple as well, like the forest in the beta. Since you guys have Half-Life Alpha, I haven't heard anything about Shaft, the 1998 beta of Half-Life. Guys, anything? Yeah, sure, I know actually a fair bit about the original Half-Life Alphas and all that shit. It's since this is kind of Half-Life 2 project beta, I don't think we're going to stream like the Half-Life alphas. It's also, only in my opinion, a lot of people would disagree with me. I think there's less in the Half-Life alpha to show than there is in the Half-Life 2 leak stuff.
Yeah, definitely far less.
If there's a lot of public sort of request for it, I might do a stream alone about it because I wanted to do it for a little while. But that's literally only if you guys want it, and it won't be a very long stream because there's only really a handful of maps.
I mean, I think it's still something we may stream in the future because it's Half-Life relevant and it's still interesting.
Yeah, but it's less of a priority right now.
Cvoxaluri. Jesus, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Yeah, sorry, thanks for the correction. There is kind of a sort of map for episode 3, you could say, in this leak. It's called Borealis Underline Interior or something. And it's basically a hallway in the Borealis, and that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to it. And there's also a map that's called Proto Underline Snow, and it's basically just kind of like a small hill with some snow on it. And that's pretty much all that you could say is related to episode 3.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if Valve were very good at keeping their episode 3 stuff separate for security reasons or some other reason, but there's kind of no episode 3 stuff that we know of. Akilas says, what do you think about what's that there? Nikolai Orlov, yeah, and his mods. A lot of people dislike Nikolai Orlov's mounting stuff, but I actually find it really cool. I like playing through Half-Life 2 with like Counter-Strike source weapons and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. Yeah, I actually like his stuff.
Alright, so back to the stream. What is happening is Scott just escorted all the refugees to a train and it left. And finally Alex guides us to another train. But actually...
Oh, okay, we've lost...
He's back.
We lost Vitoy quickly there.
That was
Welcome
strange.
back,
Okay. Well, I guess someone else can continue.
About what about?
Yes. So we were to escape the City 17 on another train, and suddenly Strider appears, and we will have to deal with him first. Well, basically, same thing as in the final version of episode 1, except, like I already said, it's the same map.
Please don't die again.
Patiently waiting for Project Borealis. It's a pretty cool project. I like it. It's cool. It's a very noble undertaking. You guys have the beta 2002 Alex line of "Do you want my help? If you do, you better get going." I don't know, man. I could check, but I don't know if we do. I don't know how, but Barney got some sick LED lights on his suit and gun. Yeah, he's got that specular technology. Nikolai is a very oh, okay, yeah. Let's keep that out of the chat. Thanks. I surely would watch the Half-Life 1 alpha stream. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'll do one, or we'll do one. We'll see. It's all good.
I'm basically fighting a big gloom cloud.
You should put a Buddha mode on. I saw somebody mention that. Oh, you have. Okay.
Actually, I don't know why everything is so shiny.
I'm gonna blame.
I think.
I remember when I
an older
was
version.
playing this map, everything wasn't so shiny.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
I'm pretty sure that this map has probably gone through a whole bunch of revisions over the years. I think the first kind of official screenshot of this map had a totally different skybox. I might be wrong though.
I mean, I could turn HDR off.
Oh yeah, right. It was more yellowish.
Was the mini strat supposed to appear anywhere in episode 1 aside from the Mossburn scene? No, I think they'd pretty much determined that they were going to introduce the mini strider in episode 2.
How does she?
You guys.
By the way, did you ever guys wondered what happened to Barney between episode 1 and episode 2? Well, it appears he left here in City 17 because there he is, standing on the ladder. I mean, on the stairs.
Yeah. Are you guys still planning on doing? Oh, go on. Sorry. Okay.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything. Sorry.
Okay. Are you guys still planning on doing streams for the 2001, 2002? Yeah. Well, we are, but it requires work and time, and to actually fix the maps, which haven't been done yet. So, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
So what you are going to see now is the initial Citadel destruction sequence.
That feeling.
Am I doing
Wait a
something
second.
wrong?
I think on this version of map, she can't proceed because the console is not here, but on the other side of train station behind the fence. And this is just the wrong version.
We may wish to swap maps.
Yes, it is the wrong version where you
Okay.
can't.
Or
proceed.
maybe you can tweak the trigger from the console, make it fire the entity. But I don't
Maybe,
know.
but we don't know
no
the
idea.
entity class.
No idea what you'd have to do.
Names for it.
That feeling when Project Borealis is created Unreal Engine 4. Hey, like, I respect those guys a lot more for using UE4.
So should we just
It's
go to the
going to
next
look
map?
so much better. It's going to look a lot better. Unreal is such a superior engine to source these days. I'd say that it's a really good idea to make anything Half-Life related on an Unreal tier engine. We don't
It's
have
generally
Source 2. UE4 is
newer
good enough.
and a much friendlier engine, so.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Stop messaging me in Steam, please.
Yeah,
Okay,
also,
so we go to the next
yeah.
map.
I've been getting a few messages too, guys.
Okay.
I don't have the... Yeah, sure. I don't actually have the ability to read those messages right now, so keep the messages to the general chat.
Man, I'm the only one not getting messages. Now I just feel bad.
Yeah, it's sad.
It really
And
is.
we failed again. We loaded wrong version of the final episode 1 map,
Oh, okay.
and
That's all there was.
and we won't be able to show you the Citadel destruction sequence except for this final version.
It is in the version on your channel, though. So
Yes.
if any of you guys in the stream want to see this version on that map, you can see it in the upload on the beta YouTube channel, HL2 Project Beta.
And what is interesting about this map we're showing you now is that it's the same map. I mean, it's the same Citadel destruction sequence as in the end of final version of episode 1, except it was to be shown at the start of episode 2. So the episode 2 was supposed to start not from the video but from the map itself, and also it was to be slightly different. You will see. So what they changed here, they added the model of the Citadel, which, well, it just gets blown by the explosion, as you could see. And also a big chunk of Citadel, which were to fall right on the train, was added also.
Why did that play?
I think you should just load the
Yeah.
next map.
This is kind of weird.
Will you guys be doing beta streams for any other Valve games? I know Portal, Team Fortress. Don't know. we kind of just we've got plans to do beta streams for Half-Life 2, a few more, and obviously the episodes.
Yes,
But we never really
All right, what map are we
Yeah.
going for next?
we've never really spoken about Half-Life 1 streams or
I don't know,
TF2 or
your
anything
chat.
like that.
Do we just go through all the different revisions?
We can, should we?
I'd say do a different map instead of
Yeah.
a different revision.
I think we've got a lot of revisions to cover. We
will
haven't got
start
the most time.
showing every map. We will just spend
The other
too much
mod
time.
goes through them pretty quickly.
Well,
So which one should I load? That's what I'm asking.
Is there anything else about episode 1?
I don't think so. It should be. We only have the train station map, right?
That's all that's in here.
Well, let's move on to episode 2, part 1 then. I guess.
Are there some style guides from episode 1?
They're not in this mod.
They might be in the other mod if we do have them.
Oh, the other mod is just
Well,
episode 2. So
I don't know.
it's in there.
I guess we can just show you the next mod then.
Did we ever get the beta jalopy? No. Or jalopy, or however you say it. No, we didn't. Ever. We got a textures, I think, if I'm correct, but we never actually got the model itself. There was a few
By the way-
recreations, but that was about it.
There is an interesting story about the jalopy because when episode 2 was released, some mod teams asked Valve directly for the model, and Valve said, "Yeah, we can totally share the model with you." And well, as you can see, more than 10 years passed, and we still don't have the original model. We only have a remake made by. Once again, I forgot his name. Well,
Yeah, it's a very good remake though.
yeah,
Very good.
So I just
it
loaded
is
up this
pretty
map
close.
because we weren't doing anything. What?
Major fraction detected.
Yeah, I can't read every single message. What was your question? I missed it.
I think we should more comment on the gameplay, and they can ask us questions after we finish.
Yeah, sure. Alright. Okay, guys, we're gonna put the questions
So,
on
what map
hiatus
should we do
and
next?
talk about the game now. Alright, let's go. Should we go just for the next one chronologically?
Kirill, what map should we do next? Are we doing this mod or are we going to the other mod?
Well, if there are no episode 1 maps on this mod, well, I guess we can show the next mod.
Okay.
Right, so now we're
And,
switching mods.
Like we already said, you can find this mod on ModDB, and soon you will be able to find this mod also on our site. So you can download it and try all the maps yourself. And the next mod we will show you, it's fully dedicated to beta version of episode 2. There are no episode 1 stuff here, but over 60 maps belonging to episode 2 pre-release versions. And here you can see both storyline. I mean, like you can walk through all maps from start to finish. Well, not all maps, because still it is a demo of the mod, not the final version, and it ends on Outland 07 map, but you can kind of walk through from the start to 07 map in this mod. And also there are like bonus maps, rest maps, and some test maps and stuff like that.
Oh, we've got some
So what
interesting
you can see
textures
here
over there.
is how episode 2 initially was to start. It was still a train crash, but the thing is that Alex was supposed to fall from this chunk of fallen train cars, and unfortunately, as you can see, the animations of her falling are kind of messed up. So the biggest difference between this version and final version is that Alex was to be injured on this map, and not by hunters, but by falling from big height.
And kind of like indirectly, because you break the debris that she's hanging on.
It's actually Gordon's fault.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that it was this way of Alex getting hurt was showed in the end of episode 1, and this is one of the main reasons why they refused to add a video of, I mean, a video teaser of episode 3 in the end of episode 2, because they knew it would come through a lot of changes as well. So there's no point of making a video if many things will change.
I remember that back then when the teaser showed Alex falling, just like in this map, obviously, the amount of discussion online about Alex dying was completely ridiculous. It was basically a meme. People were copy-pasting Alex dies in episode 2 constantly over and over.
Yes, but also Valve heated things up because they started releasing gameplay videos of episode 2, and there was no Alex in them.
That
also led many people come to conclusion that Alex died by falling.
They did do an interview before episode 2 came out, and they did say that someone was going to die, but they didn't say who. So it was possible it was kind of like a red herring to make people think it's Alex, but actually...
Well, I mean, they didn't technically lie. They said no lies.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, the map was a lot different by, I mean, the geometry of the map, but the synopsis is pretty much the same. Alex gets hurt, and Vortigaunt comes and tries to take her, and we will have to guard Vortigaunt with Alex, and guide them inside that mine where the hideout is.
My kin will meet us at a sheltered location beneath the surface. We must move her there quickly. I will stabilize her if the free.
These animations are...
with protection.
Well, yes, they're messed up. It's because the scene was different, obviously.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work well with... I mean, the final version of the scene doesn't work well with better pre-release version of this map. But I think it's still possible to fix it. Don't forget, it's a demo of the mod, not the final version. I'm sure Alex will do the job. Yeah, he should start the the generator. The birds on Ben's end, they kind of adds atmosphere to the forest location.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, they sound just like the ones from the game.
I see British wildlife. I can shut the window.
Alright, Britain is in Eastern Europe, confirmed.
Yes.
This is why British people likes to wear tracksuit.
Yeah, we are inspired by Russian gopniks. That's our look.
And this scene can remind you what was in episode 2 final version, because we also were to help somehow Vortigaunt to proceed. I mean, we were to open the gate for him. And the same way we were to get separated and proceed alone to the hideout. And by the way, one thing we forgot to show you is the map. The synopsis map of episode 2.
I can show that really quick.
Because it is pretty interesting. It was found... I actually forgot where it was found.
In an interview with...
yes, with
I
one of
forgot the
designers.
developer, but I think the website that the interview was hosted on was Interloper.
Yes, right. It was found in Interlopers. And
Here, just
they
a
took
moment,
an
I got a
interview,
call coming in.
interview with one of Valve's level designers, and he showed them. Well, he provided some interesting info about the developing of episode 2, and also he showed this map. We will show you pretty soon.
It's an interview with Phil Cove.
Yes.
Alright, so they can see the map on the screen right now.
Alright, so as you can see, where the number 1 is the map we were just showing you. And the thing about this map is it's a lot different from what we got in final version of episode 2. Because not only it mentions some, the layout of locations is different, but also it mentions some cut characters. Like if you will see on the map, if you will look on the map closely, you can find the mention of Chet and Eric on 06 map. And if you remember the final version of episode 2, actually I think we can tell you about it when we will be playing this map. So I can drop you the link to this map in the comment section, and you can see it yourself.
What's interesting is like on the right you see this, I guess it's kind of like the scheme of the story beats in episode 2. You know, citizen shoots down dropship, advisor pod opens, the advisor flies off. The last one, Alex talks about getting to Oasis. That's something that obviously never happens in episode 2. And it's maybe to do with a plot point that was going to be in episode 3.
So the next map is the older version of Mine Hideout. It's the battle where you must defend injured Alex from Vortigons. Whoa, someone's chair is squeaking too loud.
Yeah, that's mine. Like I say, the microphone is weird.
Trust me, Ben, birds were much better.
They'll come back soon, I think.
The bloom on the Vortigon healing Alex is off the charts. It looks like the sun or something.
And by the way, if you will look up, there was supposed to be an interesting model of some kind of roof, as it can be seen in the teaser trailer. I can show you a screenshot pretty soon. Alright, I sent a link in Discord. Can you show it, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having some audio issues here.
No, you're not.
No. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Sorry guys, but I'm not going to be able to hear you whilst I fix this. Alright, I think I'm back. Can somebody speak?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I hear everyone. Nice.
Alright, I'm just getting that screenshot up now.
Okay.
Wait, is it up on the
No,
on the
not
stream?
Yet. Not yet.
Oh, alright.
Alright, it's up.
Alright, so as you can see on the screenshot, there was to be some kind of roof, like I mentioned before, and it was cut entirely from the game, and no model can be found. But still, I heard some mod teams who are making episode 2 beta mods. They managed to restore it, or they promised to restore it. I don't know. And well, someday we will see it in restored state.
It's interesting because it makes it seem like this was going to be a totally different sort of structure, and that it wasn't even maybe going to be part of like a mine at that point in development.
By the way, I think on one of the maps, one of episode 2 beta maps from that map pack, this map was to be set not in mines, but in some sort of sewers. And I think it was some different area of episode 2. By the way, if you don't know, initially episode 2 was not to be set in the forest, but it was to be set in wasteland. And the first concept of episode 2 actually was, well, they kind of restored wasteland from Half-Life 2 beta. And we were to travel across, well, in a kind of dried sea by the raft, by huge crack in the earth.
Yeah, this is something that seems to come up in every single prototype map that Valve did for episode 2 when it was supposed to be in the wasteland. These huge cracks in the earth that seem to pop up everywhere.
The map we mentioned earlier, the one called Wasteland Combat, it is the remnant from that era. So this is how the final battle in White Forest, well, this is how it started, the idea of it.
Canyon underline test, which maybe we can show off.
Yeah, we will show.
Is another wasteland map, and it shows the art style.
Yeah, it is the most well known, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I've seen other wasteland maps that weren't leaked somehow. I don't know why.
I don't know. But there's the sound manifest for episode 2 and episode 1 actually mentions that like the music cues were designed for a wasteland sort of setting at some point.
So the version of this map we are playing it right now, I mentioned, I mean the one that was to be set in sewers, this might be the remnant of the same map, but in the wasteland area of episode 2. And the version Scott is playing right now is already from forest area, which made it into final version, as you can know. And by the way, in the end of this map, you will see a big difference between another big difference between pre-release version of episode 2 and final version. I won't spoil you, so you will see it yourself if you already don't know. But the main idea, as you can see, it remained the same. We were to battle hordes of endlines coming from 4 different tunnels. Did Ben just left again?
No, I'm here.
Oh, that's good. Because otherwise you would be fired.
You can't fire me, I quit. So how many maps do we have currently as part of the episode 2 mods that we're playing today?
Well, there are total over 60 maps in this mod alone.
Wow.
But obviously we won't show it. I mean, we won't show every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because many of them are just different revisions of the same maps.
Yeah.
Like there are over 10 different versions of Outland 01 map, and well, it's kind of interesting to see how it changed from version to version, but it will just take too much time to show everything in one stream. And well, I think it's better for everyone to see it themselves rather than watching us playing it. Since everyone, like I already said, everyone can download both mods from ModDB and our site and play them. Well, I think it's almost the end of the map, finally. This map kind of reminds me those lame battles in Nova Prospect in Half-Life 2. Except this time we're battling amongst 2 friendly citizens, not alone.
Instead of those crappy turrets.
Seriously, this was the worst part in whole game in Half-Life 2. I think everyone hates it.
Yeah.
This part was at least not
ridiculous.
super stretched out as that one was.
This one was just a lot more fun than that one.
Yeah. And with all those comments by Greeks and Sheckley.
Yeah, and you know, a great aspect of design is that you know exactly how many landlines are going to come from which tunnel, which the Nova Prospect defense sequences didn't have. It was just totally random.
And finally the cavalry came, and there will be the final storm by Endlines. And you will see pretty funny scene. And where's the third turret, by the way?
It's on top of the
I think-
forklift.
Oh, alright. By the way, there's an obvious change they made to the final version, because as you can remember, in final version of episode 2, both turrets they get blown up before those Porticons come up. So
Yeah.
it's up to us to fight Antlions entirely, and Vortigons, of course. I think the purpose of this decision is because they wanted to show the new AI of Vortigons, and it was pretty hard to show it with tourists slamming all Antlions.
Yeah, and it was also
And-
way
and-
too easy.
Here is another big difference of pre-release episode 2 and final version. As you can see, Alex gets healed right on this map, and we were to go into Antlion caves to find extracts for her. And actually, we were to travel the mines, Antlion caves, with Alex and Vortigaunt. And by the way, because of it, I think because of it, there were less maps in episode 2 initially. And if you can remember the old interviews, I think Valve were saying that the amount of gameplay hours were to be the same as in episode 1, and then they were saying that they added additional gameplay time, and that's also because they decided to change what was happening with Alex and how she would to be healed.
Episode 2 just kind of like grew in general. Obviously, as people know, it was originally supposed to be released in late 2006, and ended up slipping like a whole year.
Yes, it was initially it was to be released in Christmas, I think.
2006, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was the final version was released 10 months later.
I think in general, it kind of ended up growing into a much bigger thing. Obviously, porting it to consoles also was a pretty difficult task because Valve did not have a whole lot of experience, especially with PlayStation
But
3.
the main thing I think why they didn't release episode 2 in time is because they decided to release 3 games in one box, and the 2 other games simply weren't yet ready for release.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were waiting until Team Fortress 2 and Portal were to be done.
And initially, Episode 3 was actually being developed at the same time as Episode 2, because the idea was that the Episode 1 team, once they had finished Episode 1, sort of leapfrogged ahead in developing Episode 3. But as work on the Orange Box started ramping up, the team that was doing Episode 3 at the time instead started working on Episode 2 and the other Orange Box games.
And as you can see, this map looks pretty much the same as in the final version, except we weren't to travel in that how to tell like unnecessary detour tunnel. And by the way, if you remember the gameplay trailer of episode 2 that was released on GDC, I think. Oh wait, it wasn't. It was released on
Leipzig at the
Leipzig
Games
Convention.
Conference.
Yeah. It looks pretty much the same as in this gameplay trailer they released. So it was still pretty much different from the final version. But the layout is the same. The general geometry, I mean. Except, as you can see, Alex was to be with us in this version.
There's also a lot more combat. I think the final game doesn't have this many Antlions.
No, not as much.
Yeah.
By the way,
There are also less grubs on this map than there are in the final version, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure there's many more than this in the final version.
That's possible.
this an interesting thing about this version of Caves in general is that we were to avoid killing antline grabs, because killing them spawns antlines. It angers them in this version. If you will step on the antline grabs, you will see that antlines get spawned right near us. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's even mentioned in episode
In the
2
commentary. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really
One
good
thing
gameplay
that's-
aspect, because then it's like, okay, well I need health, but if I want health, I'm gonna have to spawn more enemies. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason why they decided to change it.
One thing that's interesting about episode 2 in particular, and the episodes in general, is that it seems that definitely with episode 2 there was this tendency by Valve to go back and reuse the stuff that they had previously wanted to put in Half-Life 2, like the antlion caves, and an encounter with, kind of like this big antlion enemy, it's kind of like the den mother of the antlions. And the wasteland, obviously, before it evolved into the white forest that we have now.
Scott, can you show another screenshot I sent you in Discord?
Yeah.
Right now, we will show you how the initial. Well, it's not exactly the initial design of antlion workers, because it's just a temporary model. So the initially antlion workers, they didn't have their own models, and Valve just took the original antlion model and reskinned it into the green skin. And we will show you how it looked in pre-released builds of episode 2. You can see it in one of game's trailers. This is just a screenshot from one of the trailers.
I can see it now.
Oh yeah. This is how antlion workers looked like, and also this is how caves looked like. As you can see, there were no special effects for caves walls. They were just usual textures. I mean, they had usual textures on them.
Uh-oh.
That's pretty funny. That never occurred to me. Well, I guess you should just run faster
Yeah.
to the end of the map, so she won't get stuck anywhere.
People must have been hiding down here.
And as you can see, there are some remnants of Alex dialogues still left in the game that were left unused. Like over here, she mentioned that people used this as they tried to hide here. I mean, they used this place. Yes, break the wooden planks.
That's
Because
cool. I didn't know we did
antlions are
that.
coming. Yeah, now you should just close the door and you can use those canisters to fight antlions. So this part, it looks like they cut it entirely from the game. Yeah, it's
Long way
pretty-
down.
But this tunnel is recognizable, I think. Yes, even this
Yeah.
puzzle left in the game. I really thought you will fall into the pit.
This is a gray one.
And here's another part they changed entirely. They still saved that tunnel, but they changed what happens next. And what happens next is there will be a sequence you will see pretty soon, where we will have to defend Alex from antlions here, while she tries to fix the panel for electricity.
Yeah, and in the final game, this is a totally different area, is it? Or am I wrong? The one with the big lift that goes straight up?
I see what's going on.
By the way, an interesting thing is, if you know about particle benchmark, there it could be found. Oh wait, it wasn't to be found in particle benchmark, but it was to be found in closed captions file. So closed caption file still contains some unused cut dialogues by Alex and our characters, and I even made compilations of all cut dialogues from episode 1, episode 2, Lost Coast, and Half-Life 2. But well, it was only released on our VK public, I think. Oh no, it was also released on Facepunch thread. Well, anyway, there was a mention of Alex's lines for this sequence, which still left in closed caption file in episode 2 final version, which is pretty interesting. We knew that Alex was to fix some panel, electricity panel in episode 2, even before all these leaks happened. We just didn't know exactly where it was to happen. And there are still mentions of different interesting sequences that were cut from the game.
Is that a dev texture on the doorway there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
They're not coming? I think something blocking their way.
Lead us.
Last time I played this, I was not this short on ammo.
Uh-oh. What was that? What is this place?
And here was supposed to be another puzzle. Um, it was to be a puzzle with this card, and it was supposed to open this door, this gate. I mean, I don't think it was to be. I mean, it wasn't to be. All right, never mind.
Am I going the wrong way?
My English skills left me. Ben, where are you when we need you?
I'm here. What's up?
Those squeaks.
The key card?
Which key card?
I thought you said something about key cards.
He was talking about the puzzle.
Oh, okay.
Card, not card.
Ah,
Right. You're not even watching the stream. You're fired.
yes I am, man.
Out the front door, parking lot, car. Goodbye.
Okay, man, well, you remember you still owe me all that money.
No, they won't follow you.
I know.
Alex is just gonna jump into the hole.
So if you remember, in the final version, there was to be the same way you get separated from the Vortigaunt. And it appears they came up with this idea from very early stages of development. Oh, I hate this section. There are too many headcrabs, and especially poison headcrabs.
Oh, I hate those guys. That's the only thing about Half-Life 2 that scares me. Scott's handling it very well.
When you hear that sound of poison headcrab, this makes you chaotically seeking for some place to hide.
Or the nearest crowbar.
I think Scott's doing okay though. He doesn't seem too upset about it.
Yeah.
He's done this before. He's a professional. Oh, that is some bad lighting right there. It's very odd. Oh, thank you. Jesus, look at it. They're so ready. Huh?
What are they doing?
Hey, that's up to them, man. It's none of your business.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess it was some sort of bug with spawning entity, NPC spawn.
Yeah.
It just spawned 3 NPCs at one place.
It's just an old concept of the mating rituals of poison crabs.
Yeah, just like Gabe used to say about Half-Life 1, where you'll see the aliens breeding in real time, and moss grows on walls in real time.
Yeah, and here is the old.
Creepy Uncle Gabe. Uh-oh.
The old Antlion Kings layer. It left pretty much the same in the final version, except in this one it doesn't look so polished. I wouldn't wait for him
No, I'm just
if I were you.
just looking around. Get adjusted what the map looks
Take
like.
it in the
So
scenery.
if you will enter this hole, all right, this
Jesus,
hole doesn't
what is
have
wrong with the lighting
webs.
on these maps?
Maybe I should turn HDR off.
Yeah, it's awful.
Oh, all right,
Right.
there it is. If you will break this web, you will see it's not a model. Oh wait, it is a model. Well, all right. There is another web somewhere else, which isn't a model, but it is a brush entity actually.
Whoa.
That was pretty funny.
Right there.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's the bit.
Yeah, we found the brush.
Yeah, I saw it.
And
And
another one.
another thing about this version of Antlion, Antlion King's Den, is that those holes we were just in, they're pretty
Oh my god.
pretty hard to navigate.
Oh man.
How did you survive that?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Did you put something on
Oh
the
my
console?
god.
I think he can't kill you.
He can.
He only
Last time I
can
played, I
reduce
died.
your health.
Oh, what the?
Oh wow, push trigger. Is that a push trigger? Oh no.
It's.
Oh.
I had it happen last time too.
That was
Particle
weird.
ghost.
Flew back.
Particle ghost.
Shadows fore and aft.
By the way, an interesting thing about Antlion grabs is that initially they used the model from Half-Life 2 beta for them, and
Yeah.
only some later in development they made a new model for it. And if you will look closely in one of episode 2 teasers, you can see that the models for the grabs we used initially was the model from Half-Life 2 beta. Well, of course, it's for us Half-Life 2 beta, but for them it's just another unused content they decided to use.
I always thought it was so cool how finished the Antlion grubs. I mean, obviously it was an early concept, but just it was neat seeing it reused because there was a finished thing in the beta, basically.
Well, there was some crashing, wasn't there? In the Half-Life 2 beta if you
Well,
stepped
the
on them.
original one, yeah, when you squished them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the XP fixed it in his licknet.
Yeah, which he also broke
Oh.
the water.
You can praise the XP for fixing Antlion grabs.
But you can also blame him for breaking the water and breaking the HUD.
And push trigger.
So-
Blame the XP.
Here you can see the same area as in the final version, except the concept of the puzzle was a bit different. You will see. We still had to find the gear for the lift, and we still were to accept it to its mechanism. Not this one, not this
I
one.
know. I just wanted to do that. It looked fun.
But by the way, as you can see, it is a brush gear, not the model, as in the final version. But it appears initially we were not just to apply gear to this mechanism, but we were also to start the generator, to start the lift. It's behind you. Yeah, and this generator was to be started using our gravity gun. And as you can see, there were no layer with extract, and obviously no scenes with Alex getting healed with it in this version. They only came up with this idea sometime later. And this is how we would finally exit the mines.
Lead us.
And the next map is how the canyon used to look like in I think it's April 2006. As you can see, we would start inside the big pipe and not. Later they added another exit from the mines instead of the pipe.
So that's what we saw in the Citadel. They're sure in a hurry.
And what's interesting about this map is that the lighting was
We have to get there ahead of them.
it was very different from the final version.
They will understand our
And I think there were to be more trees and stuff. Well, basically the level, to me, it looks a bit more complex than in the final version.
Yeah, and it seems to be bigger as well, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
notice the cracks in the earth. In the final version, the map has flat land.
Well, probably in the process of optimizing the game to run properly on Xbox and PS3, a lot of stuff ended up getting,
Yeah.
optimized aggressively. There's also a whole bunch of these beta levels that have rain in them, and Valve talked about how they wanted to do different types of weather, and the particle benchmark has a whole rain system. So probably that was maybe supposed to be in as well, but wouldn't have run very well on console. But that's just speculation.
If we will have time, we will show you other versions of Outland 01 and the final battle in White Forest. And some of those versions, they had rain on the map.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes us pretty sad. Because, well, in particle benchmark, rain looked just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
By the way, notice how Antline guards came out from underground and not from. Well, later they added 2 exits from the mines from both sides.
Get him.
Dead. Finally.
Woohoo!
By the way, I think this is the version used in episode 2 teaser trailer. If you
Yeah,
remember,
does-
there was a
does
moment
seem like
when
Sorry, couldn't be
when
more
they
help.
show Antline Guard ramming the car towards you, and I think it was filmed on this map. I mean, on this version.
The sentries should have spotted us.
And by the way, notice how the lift was different.
Theory is hardly far-fetched.
Well, it's less complex, and also there's no puzzle yet involving that. I don't know how it's called in English. That instrument.
The switch?
Elevator?
Like,
Okay,
Never mind.
pickaxe. Pickaxe.
And by the way, can you look at the left at the bridge? Yes, notice that bridge and that train that fell from it, because you will see that bridge on one of the next maps. And actually, this is what I liked about episode 2 beta, because in episode 2 beta you can see the links between the maps. For example, you will see that same bridge with the same train 2 maps later. 2 maps later. And in episode 2, actually, I mean in the final version, if you will combine all the maps in one, you will see that the 2 maps later, I mean the map after the next map, it conflicts with the map with that canyon. And technically, the map with the radio tower, it comes right through the map with the canyon in the final version. This is what I hate about episode 2. Well, one of the things I hate. And it wasn't the thing in the pre-released version of episode 2.
Crabs have had their way with both parties.
And this map will be pretty it will have pretty long gameplay, but still it will be cool to see it, I think. And also, this is the first time you will see the Jalopy, the remake by
It appears they
I
attempted an escape,
I forgot
but
his
they
name
went
again.
farther than the abyss.
So yeah, if that guy watching us, please excuse me.
Maybe we can jump it back to this side.
So it's not the original Jalopy, but it's really
Yeah.
close enough. It's a great recreation.
But still, yeah, it's still pretty cool.
Did we have the original textures?
That condition will not last long.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
I
have
think
the
so.
texture for it. Yes, it is in episode 2 files.
Well to lend our protection from above, while food
And by the way,
exposed to hazards.
the initial model he released,
This mounted gun may prove
there was a problem with it because Alex couldn't have a seat, unfortunately. But again, I forgot his nickname, but he helped Alex with this model, and he added the ability for Alex to take a seat.
I will look
So you will see that it is a fully working Jalopy model
Gordon,
in this mod.
I guess it's all up to you. Here, I'll get this field down. Good luck, Gordon. Careful now.
I think you can enter no clip here because
No,
this scene is broken.
It'll work eventually. Just
Yeah,
takes
but
a while.
it will work, but it will take too much time.
Oh.
As we said earlier, the final versions of scenes, they conflict with pre-release versions of the maps. So that's why not everything works correctly, unfortunately.
It's a miracle that it works as well as it does, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can you hear the poison zombie breathing and groaning right now, Scott?
No.
Because it was mentioned in the developer commentary that that's something that they added later on to make this sort of journey for this building a bit scarier.
I hear it now. I hear something now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I definitely heard something.
Oh.
And by the way, while you're going further on the map, I forgot to tell about the G-Man sequence. Because, well, there are mentions in in that closed captions file I mentioned earlier that the G-Man sequence initially had even more dialogues. I think there were well, in the final versions there are like maybe 10 or 15 lines for G-Man, and initially he had over 20, I think, and about 15 G-Man lines were cut from the game, and we only have the names of them, and we don't know exactly what was he telling in those lines.
On the overwiki, on the page for the G-Man's quotes, they do have about, I think, 5 unused quotes that he was going to have in the speech.
About 5 lines are still present in the game files. And there's another interesting thing about this map. I think we already mentioned earlier at the start of the stream that if you remember that map, I don't know if Scott can show it right now.
Yeah, I can.
That map, the synopsis map of episode 2. So there is mention of 2 characters that we were to meet on this map, on the map we are playing right now, and the names are, I will check. Yeah, so the names are the names mentioned on that map are Chet and Eric. So we were to meet 2 guys here. I think those were to be the guys Vortigon mentioned. If you remember, he said that he knows human that have a car not far from here, and I think he mentioned these guys, Chet and Eric. And an interesting thing about them, well, we don't know anything about them. They never were mentioned anywhere in the commentaries or anywhere else. But the interesting thing is that we also know different names. I mean, they had different names at some points of development, and their names were Fred and Cyril.
So which Outland map is this? Is this chapter? Sorry, is this 05?
It's Freeman Pontifex.
Oh, okay, all right. So that's 5, I think, or 6.
Where on this
it's
map
5.
is it?
It's 5. It's
Okay.
5.
5.
Okay.
Wait, no, it's not 5. 5 is the canyon. It's 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Fred and Cyril, we know these names from the closed caption file, and once again we only have the names of their dialogues and nothing else. We don't know what exactly they were to tell us. But in the end, they were cut entirely from the game. And by the way, we don't know which names they had initially and which they had later. I mean, we don't know which names they had earlier. Fred and Cyril, or Chet and Eric.
I would say
by the way-
Fred and Cyril, because Chet and Eric is probably just a joke. Because
Yeah, Chet and Eric are obviously references to
the writers.
who?
The writers, Chet and Eric
yeah.
from... Yeah.
As you can see, generally this map is almost the same as in the final version, except, well, there are some really small differences. I think you should throw the grenade. Or you don't have it.
I did, I just didn't think of it.
I'll be back in just a moment.
Oh, and by the way, we forgot to mention that early design of sniper rifle. But I think you noticed it yourself, because, well, it was made of brushes initially. Well, obviously they didn't have the model yet, and it was a temporary version. And by the way, notice how there was no building where you were supposed to get off those metal shields from the roof. Well, if you remember, in the final version there was a building where you was to remove metal shields, so Alex were able to shoot zombies, and the building wasn't yet in this version of the map. It was later. It was added only later.
So, of the maps that were leaked in that recent VMF of Episode 1 and Episode 2, what maps were missing? Because I noticed, like, Outland 09 or 10 or somewhere around there, we're missing a few in between maps. And early maps.
Outland 08, 09. Well, the maps with how it's called, White Forest Inn. The map with dropship, Strider Dog Battle. The first maps for insides of White Forest base. All of them are missing in the map pack.
And it's a safe bet that during 2005 there was a lot of development on both episode 1 and 2, and as far as I know there's just 2 to 3 test maps from 2005.
Most of the maps from Wasteland era of episode 2 are also missing, which is the main thing that makes me sad.
Yeah, me too.
Because I really liked that idea of episode 2 set in Wasteland, in the dried sea, and I don't know. This idea looked very cool for Half-Life setting, and well, the forest. It looks cool, of course, but it doesn't give you the right feeling.
I think Adam Foster, who made Minerva, put it best that White Forest, just as a setting, is way too hospitable and way too pleasant, you know, for a Half-Life setting.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look immaculate, though. I mean, you can tell that, you know, the rivers are dried up and the trees aren't super, super healthy or whatever. But it could have done with a little bit more of that stress kind of feeling that, you know, for 20 years, the Combine Space people the planet, and it's not cool. The forest in general, in episode 2, is actually made using reference material from Seattle, from Washington.
Yeah, but wait, this is another thing I didn't like about episode 2. Well, Half-Life 2 was set in Eastern Europe. Episode 2 doesn't look like Eastern Europe at all.
Yeah.
And that White Forest Inn, it simply doesn't fit Eastern Europe setting. And also,
I don't know. I wouldn't go
Russian,
that far. I think it's
as Russian, what I hate about episode 2 is the name of Victory Mine, because
yeah.
it actually never mentioned anywhere the exact name of the mines, but there are a sign with the name of the mine, which is in Russian, and it actually, well, I don't know why they didn't find someone who knows Russian, but it just sounds wrong on Russian.
What did they call it?
Well, if you will correctly translate the name of the mine into English, it will sound like Victory Mine in memory of 15 years, something like this. As you can see, what I just said, it doesn't sound correctly on English, and this is because it doesn't sound correctly in Russian.
It also doesn't really make a whole lot of historical sense if you want to look at it from that perspective. Because if it's 50 years after
World War II, it means that the mines
was built in 1995, and 1995 for any country, they used to be in the Soviet Union, they used to be communist. 1995 was not a very good time to be opening mines and investing in mines. But yeah, that's a nuanced thing.
Yeah, they just oversee this moment, unfortunately. And this was pretty strange because back at the time they already had few guys from post-Soviet states, like Vitaly Genkin, for example.
Yeah.
They could just ask him.
There's also another unused sign, isn't there, that basically says
there are a lot of unused signs in Russian.
Subarctic transport.
Which actually uses incorrect Cyrillic.
Yeah.
For some reason I can't spell it.
It's basically your name.
So if you will read it in Russian, it will sound like Subdarktический Kozetsky, which
yeah,
doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, and it's like subarctic Cossack transport. It's like, what, are you transporting Cossacks?
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty interesting that the setting of City 17 and, you know, Sector 17 as it's called is, you can't really specify if it's 100% Russian or anything because, you know, there's signs that are in
all European countries.
There's signs that are in broken Romanian, there's signs that are in Greek, there's signs that are in Norwegian or Swedish. It's really a mishmash of different things.
There's mention of crowns, which were in I think
Kron is actually, yeah, I think it's also the currency in Norway and in Sweden.
Yeah. So here it is, the Jalopy, the remake of the original model. And here you can see the how initially the sequence of the falling bridge looked like. Well, obviously it was just temporary. I really like the fridge on the back of the car.
Yeah.
I just imagine how whoever built it, he brings the bottle of beer from the car. I mean, from the fridge. He sits on the car and smashes zombies.
And all the time he's thinking, man, this is going to be really convenient if we find some Magnuson slices. The world's biggest seesaw puzzle.
And
The scene right now is probably not going to work because Alex's voice line was different.
Yeah. But by the way, we still have her original voice lines for meeting the Jalopy in a post caption file. She called it a wreck.
Yeah.
And she says that she will be surprised if we will make it to the next block on this car. And by the way, on this map, I think if you will look to the left from here. Wait, can you no clip right quick? Because I think we missed that. No, not this left, but right.
I'll wait here.
Look at the right. Yeah, I think it's not on this version of the map. But on some version of the map, when you exit the tunnel and you look left, you can see that bridge with fallen train I mentioned earlier.
Right.
Which is
Hi,
quite cool.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I thought we fired him.
No, I'm back.
Wait, I thought you quit.
Oh, right.
No, I'm back.
He's fired.
It wouldn't be as easy as just driving down the road.
You can pack your stuff and exit the office building.
I will as soon as you give me all the money that you're supposed to have given me. I haven't been paid.
Hey, I didn't know I was supposed to get paid.
You're not. I'm the only one that gets paid.
Man.
Yeah, and by the way,
Yeah.
no, I'm referring to everyone who are watching us. If you're willing to help Ben, you can
Yes.
you can follow the link in the description and find our Patreon, and you can help Ben get paid before
Yeah.
he's fired.
You can help me get out of my debt to Kirill. I think he'll kill
And
me
so,
if I don't pay him.
back to the map. Here's how the initial design of radio tower looked like, and this is actually the first. This is how we were to first meet the hunters or mini-striders, as they were referred to earlier. So obviously we weren't to meet mini-strider on the first map, like we did in the final version.
Oh my god.
And
What a
by
twist.
the way, well, in this location, we were to see the destroyed citadel view, and the reason why you don't see the citadel right now is because it wasn't to be on the 3D skybox, but it was part of 2D skybox actually.
Here it is.
And if you will watch the first trailers of episode 2, you can see how the 2D skybox looked like.
Forest, come in. White Forest, do you read?
You can see it a little bit on Lambda 1. It's a little fractured though.
This is Alex.
I think that's a newer version. Well, I think that's using the newer 2D materials. The original one is in the teaser, and it's basically this huge column of smoke extending over
Oh,
the
okay,
city.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
Combine, they're heading your way.
I sent the link to the screenshot in Discord, so I think you will be able to see it pretty soon.
Yeah. It's an interesting skybox, for sure.
Let's get back on the road. Here, let me open the gate.
And that last screenshot that just showed up there was the little bit of the wasteland concept. I just put it back to the slideshow.
Which one?
So they saw the slideshow for a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah, that screenshot.
Is it on the stream now?
No.
It's even mentioned in that oh man,
Alright, it's up
what's
now.
wrong with in the drawing, the overview of episode 2, that in this map, in the radio tower map, there was going to be this vista. And this is obviously the first time in this older version of the game when Alex sees this vista,
Yeah,
because in
that
the first
skybox
map
is
she's
awesome.
Mhm.
But the reason why they decided to use a 3D skybox instead, I think it's because, well, obviously, since it was part of 2D skybox, it was to be static. Well, of course, they could add some smoke, but that's pretty much all.
Yeah, I think it uses a mix of 2D cards overlaid on top of each other and some 3D effects.
So here's the moment when we were first to be first meet the hunter.
And back then he didn't shoot flechettes. He just shot
Yeah.
standard kind of pulse rifle projectiles.
And by the way, this is an interesting feature of this mod because they managed to restore the old AI for Hunter. You can see. It has the same AI he had in episode 1. Well, if you don't know, in the released version of episode 1, since we were to meet hunters in that Mossman sequence, they had some basic AI back then. And you actually could spawn a hunter in episode 1, even before, long before episode 2 release. And you could see how it worked back then, the AI I mean. And I think it was Wirelex who helped Alex restoring the AI in this mod. So yeah, they managed to restore it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think this is the version of the Hunter that only takes damage from the gravity gun.
Yeah. If you will shoot from some weapon in it,
Yeah, bounces, ricochets off. If Scott had some ammo for the Magnum, we could have tested if the Magnum does damage, because I think that's the only weapon that was supposed to damage him. Crossbow could work. Oh,
it did.
Yeah.
wow. Rio Bear.
And obviously the alt fire of AR2 would work too.
Detected.
Yeah. This aspect of the hunter that he was only going to take mostly damage from the gravity gun is pretty interesting because obviously that's an idea that came from Half-Life 2 with the Combine Guard, essentially, who would only take damage from the gravity gun.
Yeah. By the way, if you will play beta and spawn any map with Antline Guard on it, the initial concept of Combine Guard was the same. You could only kill him with physical objects. It can't take any damage from any weapon in Half-Life 2 beta.
Where'd Alex go?
I don't know.
I think she died. Ooh.
Yeah, sometimes she gets stuck somewhere for some reason. Maybe there's some physical object in her room. No? Well, she just broke.
Oh.
That's not cool. Well, I guess we can just load the next map.
It would be fun maybe to do the map where you've got the advisors AI and he kind of fights you
Yeah,
in the
it's
barn.
exactly the next map.
Oh, awesome. What?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I
Well,
failed
it
because
it loaded because you left Alex. Well, I guess you should
There
load
we
the
go.
map.
It'll work this time.
Oh, now she works. All right.
Awesome.
You almost rammed Alex as well. Good thing there's no friendly fire. Well, as you can see, it is another map that changed a lot since to the final version. I mean, the one with radio tower.
Just a heads up. This is not the same. This is not the map that has the advisor combat AI. I think that one's in bonus maps.
Yes.
We can try it out later, I guess.
But still, it is pretty different. I think even the design of a barn is different. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's definitely some maps with completely different design of the barn. And by the way, notice how the effect of advisor uses the combined console texture.
Yeah, that's weird.
Later it was replaced with an actual effect. So this version is almost the same as in the final version, except advisor spot, as you can see, it was made of brushes, I think. And it actually required you to kind of get into battle with him, because there are some connecting pipes, I think, inside that pod.
Yeah,
that
and you
are
gotta break
destroying.
them,
Yeah.
and then you've got to break the capsule itself.
And by the way, notice how this is the same design as in the episode 2 trailer. Yeah, so as you can see, there are three green, well, it's not exactly pipes, I think it's sockets or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to destroy them.
And now you can break the glass.
No, you should wait till that progress bar will become completely red.
By shooting it, it gets red faster. But this guy shakes your screen.
Yeah. So as you can see, the scene was a lot different and a lot more fun. Well, at least to me, because, well, in the final version, it is not actually the gameplay, but it's like not a video, but like a cutscene, kind of. Of course, we can still control the camera, but we can do anything in the final version.
Yeah, it's
over here we were to actually do something.
It's obvious that Valve really wanted the advisors to be really important in episode 2, and they still are, obviously. Like
Yes.
are really important in the ending.
But they decided to leave the battle with them for episode 3.
For episode 3, and they also had the larva advisor, the baby advisor, the juvenile advisor.
Oh yeah.
The texture sheet's still in the game, and the model is on the internet, but we don't have the model itself.
We actually it was in the replay, but I don't think it was leaked.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was in the replay. I remember it. And
that's interesting because they talk about how the advisor. Go on.
Image of larva advisor from like 2008, because Ted Beckman actually released the picture of it in his Facebook, and
on Steam as well, on the Steam artwork.
Yeah, I think it happened later.
Yeah, later.
But the most funny thing about it is the reaction of his wife, because she commented this image in his Facebook, and she said something like that. Sometimes you makes me wait, I forgot how she said it.
Terrified? Horrified?
Yeah, she said something like, Ted, sometimes your work makes me horrified.
Oh man, wait till that person sees Mr. Friendly. Or finds out what Mr. Friendly was supposed to do to him.
Oh.
And this is pretty much the end. Well, the next map will be the end of the demo of this mod. Well, the storyline part of, I mean...
It's a pretty long demo.
Yeah, like I said, there are over 60 maps in this demo. And, well, you will see a bit later that many maps, like Outland 01 for example, they have over 10 versions of them, different versions. from 2005 to 2007.
I expected that fast zombie to have like the screwed up neck.
Yeah, that thing was terrifying.
All the textures to be missing too.
A little fun fact that's mentioned in the dev commentary on episode 2 is that initially, well, you're gonna see that the hunter chopper gets shot down, but initially, the mechanic of shooting it down by using gravity gun to reflect the mines was an experiment that they were working on for episode 3, but they were so successful with those experiments that they just ended up putting them into episode 2.
Yeah, and by the way, those experimental maps, they were leaked with this map pack. But I don't think it's in this demo of the mod, but it can be, the DMFs of those experiments can be found.
With dog that you upgrade?
No. I mean the one with getting Chopper shot down with his own bombs.
Ah, yeah. I think, yeah, those got leaked as well.
Oh, I got crushed by the mine, not blown up by it. I've seen that before.
There's also a map that's probably for episode 3 that's an experiment prototype for a friendly helicopter that goes with you and attacks you.
Oh yeah.
And I think it even had a snow texture, but I might be wrong about that.
What was that?
That was my... I don't know how it's called in English, so never mind. You can still think that it is my meteorism. I won't mind. And here's the end of the storyline part of the demo. But still there are plenty of maps to show in this mod, and they're in the bonus maps, yes. And let's just show the amount of maps first. For example, for the first Outland map. Or yeah, by the way, he ported particle benchmark maps into this mod, including the how it was called, that map with snarks.
The demo blob.
Yeah, demo blob.
And for the most part, they're functional. The particles show a little bit differently than in the particle benchmark, and the snarks move a little oddly in the demo blob, but they all function.
Well, we won't show you it right now because it's not very important. What we will show you is, let's show them, for example, trailer map. As you can see the date, it's March 14, 2006, and this map was designed specially to capture that moment with Alex holding for the trailer. If you will use noclip, you can trigger the sequence. Yeah, so here is Alex holding, and this is the exact moment we've seen in the trailer. So as it appears, this was captured not on the gameplay version of the map, but on early looking trailer map. And obviously it wouldn't have anything to do with the final version even back then. So this is the only moment we can see on this map. There's nothing interesting nothing more interesting. And as you can see, there are plenty of different versions for each map.
Canyon Test is the classic Wasteland.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned earlier, the Wasteland era of Episode 2 was to be set not in the forest, but in the dried sea, near the huge crack in the earth.
This shows some of the old caves too. The old textures.
Yeah, so
of
this
the-
map, this is basically how the canyon map we showed you before. I think it was Outland 05, looked like in 2005.
And it's pretty astounding that obviously beyond the huge art style difference, it really didn't change that much functionally.
When did episode 1 get released?
1st of June 2006.
Yeah.
And this map was designed 3 or 4 months before Episode 1 was released.
Yeah.
Really? Because I think it said right there that it was designed in March 2005.
Oh wait, right. It
Yeah,
was,
this was
more than 1 year before Episode 1
this was
release.
immediately after Valve started working on Episode 1 and Episode 2.
Yes.
There's thousands of them.
1,000.
Also, it's interesting that I have this version of Gravity Gun.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if that's intentional.
That thing looks cool.
Yeah, so basically, instead of the lift we've seen in the end of Outland 05, there was a destroyed building, and we were to climb on the top of it. I don't know, I still think this idea of us traveling through dried seabed was very cool.
Yeah.
I would prefer this version instead of forest. Of course, forest looks cool and it looks very different from what was in Half-Life 2. Like it gave some fresh look, but
Yeah.
still, I would prefer the wasteland.
I think ultimately for Valve it came down to wanting to have a setting that would demonstrate that the Source engine is really good at doing outdoor massive settings, you know, foliage, stuff like that, lots of draw calls. So
just ends
I
right
guess
here.
that's it.
So here are different versions of Outland 05 from 2005 to 2007. And well, the final version, it looks just like the released version of Episode 2, except for some minor changes. Well, over here you can see some progress as well, like the lighting and
One
the
of these had a
geometry.
different puzzle for the elevator. You'd have to move a couple more things.
I don't
It would have been
remember which one.
really cool if the offer also included the map from the Android port style guide, Underlined Riverbed.
Yeah, so here it is, the Protosun B map. It was this was the exact date when they added that building with metal panels where you should remove them. Because before this version, this place wasn't on the map at all.
Quick answer to a question in chat. Episode 2 started development simultaneously with Episode 1, so sometime around early 2005.
Yeah, almost just after Half-Life 2 was released.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this map is pretty much the same in the final game.
Yeah, this place. I mean.
Yeah, I even got the Zombine bashing gate.
Yeah, so let's show something else. This map isn't very interesting in terms of cut content because, well, oh yeah. So here is the trailer map that used in the trailer where the sequence with destroyed Citadel was filmed.
But the texture is missing.
Except obviously we don't have the right texture for 2D skybox. What is another thing interesting about this map is it was initially to be set in sometime differently than in the final version, and even in even in the versions leaked. I mean, when the maps were leaked, because initially, no. I mean, what I mean is, if you remember that map I fixed, and that is on our channel, and it is used in this mod as well. That train yard.
Yeah.
So, in the final version, the radio tower is set before 2 maps before train yard. I mean, well, yeah, train yard. And initially, the radio tower was to be after the train yard. If you remember,
yeah, exactly.
The radio tower is can be seen after the train yard.
Yeah, and Alex gets to the train yard.
The interesting thing about Style Guide radio tower is that you can actually see some leftovers from the time when it was to be set after train yard. There is even the tunnel or something, I think, in these groups. Is this the style guide?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. It's just a style guide made by designers for level designers. Like how the map is supposed to look like. Lighting and all. There's another interesting map. I think it's the second version. Can you load it? No, not this one, but the next one. Yes, this one. No, the third one.
I'm sorry. This one?
Yeah, this one. Yes. I think it is this one.
This is from November 2006.
Yes. So can you look to the left?
Yeah.
When you exit it. Somewhere here we should see that bridge. Yeah, there it is. There are those buildings and the bridge I was talking about before. And this is actually the cool thing.
Yeah, there's the train car.
Because it makes a clear connection between maps. And like I said, the later version of the map, it actually, well, the connection is kind of broken.
The other really interesting thing is those apartment blocks in the distance that you saw earlier.
Oh yeah.
That,
and by the way,
it almost looks as if there was going to be kind of like a suburb or a city in this area of the White Forest?
I think it's something like satellite city.
Yeah, satellite.
If you don't live in Eastern Europe, you don't know what it is. So the thing is that big cities over here, they frequently have so-called satellite cities, and obviously City 17 was a big city, and there were so-called satellite cities around it, and it seems we were to travel through one of them. Yeah, we actually had to turn left.
Is there anything else on this map that's worth checking out?
I don't think so. It's just almost the same as the one we already showed, except it's less polished. What is interesting we can show is for the next map. Yeah. So the first interesting thing is that early map. Yeah. The one with no, the first one. Because it looks very differently from what we have in the final version. Well, of course, the geometry is almost the same. The layout of the map is the same, but the whole design and lighting is very different.
This is mostly done using Half-Life 2 textures and models.
Yes.
Like the grassland in the distance, the hills are from Half-Life 2, the trees are from Half-Life 2. The grass texture is from Half-Life 2, and there's no foliage. The trees, I guess, are from CS Source? I'm not sure. Not this big birch one, but the white ones.
And they, by the way, had a little bit different texture initially. We will show you the screenshot of it later.
Nice.
So here it is. Here's the initial design of the barn with advisor pod. And this building, I think it's like a prefab that was used in Half-Life 2.
This one?
I think it was used in D1 Canals 01 map, and also and also in during the Coast chapters. And they just reused this prefab. There's one thing I don't like about this version. I don't know how to deal with the advisor without cheats.
Yeah, you need an RPG.
I still didn't figure out how to destroy the supporting pipes. Well, all I know is you were to use explosions on it.
You're supposed to be fighting it right now.
Yep.
There are 3 different supporting pipes. And you actually can't destroy them without no-click. You have to fly right inside. Well, not inside the advisor itself, but inside those pipes.
In these pipes?
And,
I don't see what...
Yeah, I mean the wires. The socket.
Oh, those.
Yeah. You have to fly right in to destroy them. And I think you can destroy them with submachine gun, but I'm not sure.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, here it is. They're upper. And one is behind, I think. Yeah, the last one is behind.
You can kind of tell why this was cut. It's no fun at all.
Yeah. Well, obviously it was just
Yeah, basically.
very early in development.
Keep getting lost.
I don't think it was even for playtesters.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I get all
I guess we can just skip it.
Which one am I missing?
You can't
I think
even tell.
You missed the one behind him.
Did?
Still, yep, you didn't destroy it. Yeah, now it's destroyed.
Oh, and it just left.
Yes.
That was really awful gameplay, I'm sorry. Using no clip, bouncing around everywhere, not knowing what I'm doing.
Good going, Scott.
What? Who was it? I think I already fired him.
I got one
What
of
is
the
doing?
magazine devices.
What is he still doing here?
Then this one.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes. This is the most fun map because it actually contains gameplay for
That's a cool effect.
Advisor AI. So
So
this
this is the full
this is
combat.
what we will see in Half-Life 3 or Episode 3. I'm
Or
joking.
Dota 3.
There will be no Half-Life 3, no Episode 3, nothing. Forget
Just
about
Dota.
it.
Dota.
Well, speaking of things ending, ladies and gentlemen, I have just been informed that I have to go. So there's the good possibility that I will not be joining you for the rest of today's stream.
This is really cool.
I can only apologise to my fellow co-hosts, and I will see you for the next stream. Thanks for having me on, guys, and special thanks to Victor for joining. I have to go. I will see you all around. Bye.
What are you
Bye-bye.
talking about? No one will see you. You're fired. Goodbye.
Bro, you're wrong. Everyone will miss me. Goodbye.
Alright, see ya.
Okay, so
This AI
what you
was
have to
contained
do-
within Retail Episode 2?
it's possible.
It's
At
still
any rate, it was
code.
going to be used in episode 3. So
But, like, he didn't
basically,
have
the
to port this
advisor
code from part of the benchmark or anything else.
telegraphs which projectile he's going to throw at you with kind of like a yellow particle
Yeah, I
field
see
around
that.
it. And he has a number of staging ones that he pulls up into the air, and he randomly picks one.
Yeah, what developers actually want from you is to use the gravity gun.
Oh.
I think first you've got to shoot out the plug, if I'm not mistaken, so he doesn't have to shoot.
No, there's no plug.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
no. But yeah, but it's
I mean,
he's
it's not
protecting it as
destructible.
well.
You just need to throw objects in him when the shield is down. Did you destroy the glass?
I don't know.
So this is what's the name of this map?
Yes, you did.
Advisor underlined step or something?
The interesting thing is that the code is actually in the game, except it is commented the AI for Advisor. I mean,
That thing must be on the back.
so it was possible for mod makers to restore it by just removing comments. Lol, you will. Advisor 1.
No, episode 3 will never come out.
And yes, forget about episode 3.
Don't forget about it. Always remember episode 3.
Oh, come on, everybody already lost their faith in Valve, you know.
I know.
Yes, if Valve are watching us, goodbye, you're fired.
No, don't go. I still need Dota 2 updates.
That's strange, the glass should be broken already. Oh, here it is. Alright, now it's broken.
I hear mines.
Yeah, there's a bunch of placeholders.
They just used sounds from different objects and NPCs for
Well, that's interesting.
Advisor.
He's taking the brush.
For
Yeah,
example,
he picked up
when you
brushes.
hit him, he uses the sound of
So,
combined
the
gunshot.
strider. And the gunship, yeah.
He's picking up big, weird objects now. I'm doing so poorly right now.
Yes, it will be Advisor 2, Scott 0.
For, basically a prototype thing that probably didn't get that much work put into it. This
Yeah,
is
it's really
pretty,
functional.
pretty fun though. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously
What?
they toyed around with having this in episode 2 and probably decided to postpone it for episode 3.
Yeah, they mentioned it in commentaries, I mean.
That is for episode 3.
Yes.
Well, I wonder when that's gonna come out.
What is the problem, Scott?
I don't know. Are guns gonna hurt him more?
I have no idea.
Come on, just wait for the shield down and strike him.
I think what you're supposed to do is take the item that he throws at you and then his shield goes down. But his hitbox must be incredibly tiny.
You will never succeed.
This is why episode 3 was cancelled.
Yeah. Just give me a freaking...
Alright, now we know the truth. Scott was playtester inside Valve.
Holy crap. Okay, now he's doing 3 things. That's good.
Oh wow.
Yes, when he has low HP, he starts throwing more items at you.
Ow. Okay, hold on. I'm not doing that again. I'm demonstrating things, not playing.
Advisor 3, Scott 0.
Hey, if my health goes down to 1, yes. Oh,
Disqualified. Quick answer to someone in chat, Zachary, hi, could this be Dr. Bean we're fighting? It's very possible. I mean, episode 3 obviously proved that, a fan theory for a long time, that Breen became an advisor and that Breen is the advisor in episode 2. Episode 3 proved that that's basically true. So it's very possible that the advisor in episode
The
3
green
is
grub
Breen.
has birdie. Oh, I mean bird. Phew, not bird. I mean the goatee.
okay, I died.
Or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, his goatee.
So this is not a brain grab. This is someone else.
Maybe his goatee is under his little respirator mask. No way of knowing.
I don't remember what was the name of the game that came after Epistle 3, where brain grab had goatee.
Um, the game? You mean the game for
Yeah.
the episode 3 game jam?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
One of the games had a bring grab with a goatee, and this looked pretty cool.
It doesn't come to mind right now, but I know Tiger Team, made by Brendan Chung, has a Green Grub. The game that I made for the episode 3 game jam.
All right, and finally,
Oh, you got him.
wait, or not? Yes, no.
No, now he tosses 4. The game that I made for the episode 3 game jam. This is a little bit of a publicity thing right now. Is Permafrost. It does not have a green grub, and I'm actually not even sure if it's that fun, but if anyone's interested in playing it and sending feedback, that would be much appreciated. Kirill tried it and gave up. Which
Yes, but
I'm not gonna
really a
blame
fan
him.
of
Yeah, in case anyone's actually interested, it's a text adventure game. It's a very basic demo that we made for Game Jam. It's not exactly the best kind of shape, but it's a little thing that I did.
I just started playing games long after.
Text adventures?
Yes. They already weren't a thing.
Oh no, I'm planning on redoing it
finally.
and making it. Finally killed him.
Alright.
Whoa.
Advisor 3, Scott 1. Advisor wins.
I'll get you in episode 3.
And this is pretty much all about this map. We can actually tell you what. While there are no versions of the next maps, except for this one, yes. But you can find the gameplay of this map on our channel, and even the download link. But yeah, what the hell? It is in this mod, so you better download this mod and play this map. So this is what I was telling you before. This is the older version of Train Yard map, and the biggest difference between this map and what was added later is that there were no mechanical shop, and instead there was a train yard where you were supposed to control trains yourself to pass.
And there was no auto gun, nothing of
Yeah.
the sort. Yeah, you can see those apartment blocks we talked about earlier. And I think you passed right next to some. And there's the radio tower.
Yes, it's on the left. There it is. And another interesting thing is that you weren't supposed to kill the helicopter. The helicopter was to be shot down by by rebels. Yes.
Wow, that was anticlimactic.
And here you were to meet another cut character called Nigel, who would guide you through. Well, he would tell you what to do on this map. You can just read what he says.
Dr. Freeman.
I love this dialogue because it's a kind of dialogue where it's so obvious that everyone's trying to pretend real hard that Gordon Freeman doesn't exist, or that they ignore him completely and don't talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm Alex Vance. Oh, this is Gordon Freeman. Oh yeah, I figured.
what is very strange about this train yard is that the trains are powered not by wires ahead of them, but instead they use the third rail for power, which is pretty strange. For I think there's no trains
in the world
except for subway trains who uses this type of power.
This is Half-Life. Suspension of disbelief is necessary at times.
And yeah, these trains and the train tracks, it doesn't look like subway trains at all. So, well, I think the only purpose of this decision was a gameplay purpose, because it was pretty cool. You will see to turn on the power and the zombies gets fired. I mean, they are like band zombies gets fired. And the purpose why we had to turn on the power is because we were to break the barricade which blocks the way. Yes, here it is. Using the train car.
God, it's Bloom.
Lavish decoration in the subway, in this train car. This is pretty cool, I guess. Maybe one of the reasons why Valve came up with this idea is because it's kind of like a callback to Honor Rail from Half-Life 1.
Yes. This totally reminds me of Honor Rail.
Yeah, with the whole switching lines and stuff.
Oh, there she is.
Here she is.
I actually haven't fully played through this map because every time I tried playing it, I was playing it on Particle Benchmark.
Yeah, I remember your stream.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
And yeah, here's the end of the map. And as we said earlier, the radio tower map was supposed to come after this map. And can you open the map, synopsis map of episode 2 again? We will just quickly tell what was next.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the next maps they don't have the pre-released versions. Well, at least not much of those versions in leaked map pack, and we can't really tell what was supposed to happen on them earlier, on the earlier stages of development. But there are some, there are some little things that can give us some clues.
Okay, it can be seen now.
So if you will look on this map, you can see that on the next maps we were to drive. For example, well, look on 09 map. There we were to see some vista there, and we have no clue what this vista was to be. Well, possibly there was to be some...
If 09 was supposed to come after the train yard, so
Yes.
it was supposed to be the radio tower, then there would have been the vista
But
there at the radio tower map.
no. This map, this synopsis map, was drawn after they decided to move radio tower earlier. The radio tower here is 06A.
Yeah.
So what was to be on 09 map? If you will look on the upper part of the map, you can see saving private zombie. I have no idea what's it about, but well, it seems we were to drive through zombie infested
Satellite City.
highway. If you will look on the map, there is a highway leading to 10th map. What was supposed to happen on the 10th map is we were still to appear on a hotel, except it wasn't named White Forest Inn, but instead it had a name Olde Inn. I have no idea what does it mean. And
Old Inn. It's just a.
yeah.
I don't know.
And there's another interesting thing, is that in that closed caption file, we can find a dialogue where Alex says, "Dr. Magnusson was here," like it was some graffiti on the wall or something. Or Dr. Magnusson slept here, something like that. I don't remember exactly. But like I said, it can be still found in closed caption file of episode 2. And another interesting thing is that at some point of our journey, well, most likely it would to happen on 10th map, is that we were to find another crashed advisor pod. Well, there's a mention of it by Alex. And well, that's pretty much all we can tell you about those maps before White Forest base. Oh, well, and obviously the Strider dog battle was different. You can see some moments of it in the episode 2 trailer. And well, I guess we can load the yes, this trailer map. What is interesting about this map is if you will look at the window, we can see that we're this place situated right at the bottom of the rocket, and I think it was even mentioned in episode 2 commentaries that they decided to rework the layout of the base because initially the sequence was I mean the meeting sequence and the fight, well, they didn't like how everything was too fast. I mean, the action was right after the scene, and there was no rest between two actions, like between the moment when we save the base from invasion and then we save the rocket from Striders. There was no rest between two sequences, and they came right one after another. So they decided to add the racing sequence, and that's why they decided to rework the map completely. And they moved the booth where we watch Moscow's broadcast to another part of the base.
It's interesting that the trailer map has all this gameplay.
It is just because it was built from a gameplay map
Yeah.
and for trailer purposes.
And the gameplay map itself that this trailer map came from is not in the leaked map pack, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
So this is the only version, pre-release version of White Forest base gameplay. Well, maybe not the only one, but one of few, unfortunately.
Yeah. This stage of development stuff is super cool. With all the placeholder textures and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's great to see, you know, episode 2 beta stuff, cut content, even though it's 10 years after the game actually came out. There's obviously so much more that we're probably not going to ever see and that we're probably not going to be privy to.
Hopefully someday. Well, something.
Just use the tanks, the white ones,
Yeah.
or
The radiators.
those heat betters.
I wonder why those other maps weren't in the map pack.
It's probably because they just replaced the older versions with newer ones, and different level designers in Valve, they have different habits. Some, like Aaron Barber, they like to save older versions, and they have plenty of different revisions of the same map. And others, they just take the older version of the map and replace it, rewrite with the newer one. And the older one misses forever.
At the end of the day, it's really hard to say. I mean, it's possible that they sort of, when they went through the process of deciding what to put in this repo, in this repository,
Yeah.
that they basically made the conscious decision, you know, some stuff we're not going to leave in because maybe there's some mechanics that we don't want people to necessarily see. We only want to expose stuff that we shipped eventually.
Right.
It's an open question. It's incredibly hard to say. Because similarly, you know, there's all this content probably from 2005 that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wow.
What?
Is this
Yes.
intentional?
Strange thing. I think it loaded the map from episode 2.
Huh. That's cool.
Well, we can show
Not at all.
the prototypes for White Forest Battle.
Yeah, those are really cool.
This one is not cool, but the next one is already cool. Wait, not this one. I think, yes, this one. What is cool about this map is that we actually had screenshots of it released by Valve long before game's release. I even can give you links. I will leave links to screenshots in chat box.
I can't handle that HDR in this map.
So
everything
this
is reasonable.
bunker is how White Forest looked like back in that time.
The trees got very cold.
Yeah, but well, right. I will give link to you. Like I said, the texture of the tree, it looked different, and it was overwritten for some reason.
Or maybe it doesn't work well with the fragmented version.
Can you load the screenshot?
Yeah. They're playing on a 4x3 monitor. Interesting. Alright, it's up.
So
Almost
as
a
you can see,
widescreen
it is,
screenshot.
yeah, it's the exact map we're playing right now, except the lighting and some of textures, they look different. Well, they looked different. And most noticeably the texture on that tree.
Is it even the same model? Because I can't really tell.
Well, it looks like.
It's possible that it's just not rendering properly, but yeah, they look really kind of snowy. It's really different texture. Yeah, it's the same model. I just double checked. And it looks like the same texture.
You can kind of see the comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Switching back and forth between the screenshot and the game on stream.
So this map doesn't have a car, and you're only fighting foot soldiers.
No, wait. It does have a car.
Yeah,
You will
yeah.
see later. What is interesting about episode 2 beta is that when they didn't have a model for Magnuson's device, they used pumpkins instead of
Yeah,
Magnus. And there is even a video of interview with Valve where they show the journalist older battle map, and they used pumpkins instead of Magnuson's device. By the way, notice that there is rain on that map.
Yeah, yeah. That's just what I was thinking of.
The buildings with arrow shows us buildings with Magnuson's device. And what is interesting, well, if you will go to the place where later there will be a sawmill, we will find someone interesting. Can you
Someone we
you
haven't
go
seen
there
in
by
a
car?
long time.
Because
Yeah.
it's pretty
Sorry.
long distance. So, if you remember, before episode 2 release, Valve in many interviews they said that we will meet some of the old character from Half-Life 2 in one of the episodes, and people were guessing.
Kirill, something's wrong with your mic.
Oh,
It's fine now.
People were guessing.
yeah, people were guessing who this character will be. Some people thought it would be Father Grigori, some people thought it would be Barney, and well, they all were wrong, because that character were the one you will see right now in this building. He's inside, yes.
And he's gotten an upgrade in his rank. He's no longer colonel, he's a
No,
general.
it's actually a downgrade, because he's captain.
No, there's another map, another finale map, where he shows up again, and he's called a general. In this one, he's a captain.
So turns out we were to meet, well, Captain Colonel General Cabbage. And as you already know, in the final version he was replaced with some generic citizen who dies.
Immediately.
Usually he dies after the first Strider.
It would have been
Well,
fun if
there's-
Odessa Cabbage actually showed up in this map in the final game. It would have been a really cool sort of
Yeah.
place for him to pop.
There's no point of playing this map further, because, well, basically it's still about defending the base from Striders, and nothing interesting happens.
I'll take out one
So I
strider.
guess yeah. And by the way, the interesting thing about Magnuson's device is that, well, some of you already know that it was developed from weapon cut from Half-Life 2 called Hopwire, and the initial design of it was a weapon like a grenade that we were to throw into Strider, and the model is still in episode 2. I can actually show you the model. We loaded.
And
I
in
think this one's just. Oh, there it is.
and in episode 1, if you put in the console give weapon hopwire, you get a totally different weapon that was built on top of the hopwire, and it was a predecessor to the Magnuson device. That's called, well, it's a black hole grenade that basically generates a black hole, sucks everything in, then spits, some stuff out. And that's something that never came up in episode 2, and obviously never came up in episode 3 because episode 3 doesn't exist.
Alright, when you're done with Strider, I sent you the link to the screenshot, and we can show you how the weapon Hopwire, weapon Magnuson, or whatever its name was, looked like. I really hope some of the mod teams will be able to restore it to working condition. It would be really cool to see it in game.
Alright, it's up now. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So as you can see, it looked like just like a grenade, and a throwable weapon, and it didn't have any use for gravity gun initially. And we're almost came to the end, where there's almost nothing interesting we can show you.
Was there something showing alternate endings or anything like that?
I think that map, is somewhere in there. I think it's the last one, but I can't see very well.
That one says.
I tried this map, but it doesn't work
Yeah,
well.
I couldn't get further on it either.
Yeah, the button doesn't work, and nothing happens.
Yeah, I tried this one out too, and it doesn't work. Okay, basically this is from December 2006, and if it were to play fully, it's a very early version of episode 2's ending. And what happens is no one dies, you get on the helicopter with Alex, and that's it, the helicopter flies off. And that's the ending.
So we should just hard code this map ending into episode 2, so that we don't have a cliffhanger ending and wait for more than 10 years.
Still kind of a cliffhanger,
but not as horrible of one.
Yes.
Like, oh hey, by the way, dead. By the way, end. Oh, okay. Cool, I'm really, really fucking stoked. This is gonna be awesome. Can't wait to see the fucking Borealis. Can't wait to get on this helicopter and get out of here and... No. Nope, nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
Alright, we can hard-code this map into episode 2, and we can hard-code Borealis from Half-Life 2 beta. And we will have the story conclusion, the real conclusion. Not what Valve left us with. By the way, once again, if Valve watching us, thanks Valve, thanks a lot for leaving us to die with this.
You're making us play in your trash.
Don't worry, guys. Half-Life VR is on the way.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to have to spend $700 just to play it.
More like Dota 2 card game VR.
No, this is probably going to be a Half-Life VR game. The sad part is it's the perfect fit, but you know, a Half-Life 2 episode 3 would have been just as good.
By the way, here you can see the general layout of the base of the old version of White Forest.
A-Shift in the chat says you can start the scene if you push Alex up the stairs, so maybe if you tried that, it might work.
Let me see here. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Huh, I broke my HUD though.
Okay.
I no longer have a HEV suit. Oh wow, type.
Wait a moment. I'm seeing a payload anomaly of approximately 8.5 pounds.
Oh, the door closed on me.
Well, that's within tolerance. Certainly not worth scuttling.
We're back.
At last.
Jordan.
Don't interrupt.
Hell of a job you did out there, son.
Let's not forget that with the Magnuson device, those Striders practically...
Good old Magnuson.
Yes. Well, I think perhaps Gordon had something to do with their success.
I suggest we adjourn this meeting of the Mutual Admiration Society until after we have launched our rocket.
Beep.
Lift off. Wow.
Right through the concrete door.
That's one hell of a rocket.
I believe we're ready to start the autosequence.
I believe Gordon should have the honor.
You'll hear no objection from me.
It's all yours, Gordon.
There is another interesting dialogue cut from the game, which is mentioned in closed caption. So Eli, after the successful launch, Eli was to address Gordon like, "Give me 5. Oh, come on, Gordon, give me 5."
We've activated the resonator. This is it.
Oh,
My goodness.
yes.
It's working.
The portal has been neutralized.
Did it.
My rocket!
Did it,
Oh, my
Gordon.
rocket
We
worked.
sure as hell
Oh,
did.
I told you
And
it
not a
would
moment
work.
too
I knew
soon.
it would work.
No, Magnuson.
I'll bet the Combine aren't too happy right now.
You got that right, sweetheart. But we've got plenty to celebrate. I wish you didn't have to head off so soon.
This just makes me really sad.
So critical.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll find Judith and bring
It's
her
been a
back.
while.
Dog? Hey, where are you?
It's kind of a bummer. It's like the ending we never got.
Don't go too far.
and no one dies. Everything's
Well,
super
even if
cool.
yeah,
No, really, this is the worst part. That we were promised with a conclusion of the series. I mean, not of the series, but at least of
The episodic cycle, yeah.
Yeah, and we never had it.
It's a shame, but what can you do about it? I don't know. Maybe Valve tried it and it sucked and it wasn't fun, and who knows? Maybe someday we'll find out.
I want to know the Raising the Bar book. I guess
Well,
it probably wouldn't be as
alright.
interesting though.
I guess this is the sad moment where we almost came to the end of the stream, and to make it a bit more
Non-depressing.
yeah, we would like you to ask us some questions about beta, about episode 2 beta, about pretty much about any cut content stuff, and we will try to answer it. So go ahead. Elaine never died. Well, it appears that on some early stages of development he didn't. Where are the test maps for LeakNet? Well, we were already streaming for 3.5 hours, and it's pretty well.
Well, the
how to
maps
say?
the maps were taken out of LeakNet because he was making it smaller for being combined with Mega Patch.
Oh, I thought he was asking why.
No.
Why don't we show it on this stream?
No, he was just curious where the maps were.
Well, I can tell you that you can find Leaking Pipes map in the mappack, and you can just compile it. It will work with no fixes.
Sorry.
Yes. So I'm. All right, you can answer that question.
Yeah, thanks. Is the advisor NPC still in the final game? Yeah, but his combat AI is commented out. If you mod the game and tweak the code, you can restore the combat AI and make it work like the mod author did for this mod.
And that's what Alex did in his mod we just played. By the way, once again, you can download the mods we were playing from ModDB and from our site. We will add the first mod we were playing pretty soon, tomorrow or maybe Sunday, but we will initially add it to our site and you will be able to download the latest version of it. How's Alien Assassin? Well, there's no AI of Alien Assassin left in the code of Half-Life 2, I mean the leaked version, so it is impossible to restore it. So we don't see any way of us restoring it. Maybe someone can. Well, it's almost impossible, I think, because it's pretty hard to make NPC AI code, and obviously, it's not work for fan modders.
Do you think there's a possibility an episode 3 trailer was started before Valve decided to not put it in episode 2? So I just managed to pull up an interview with David Spira, and it's with Rock Paper Shotgun, and they bring up the fact that episode 2 did not have a teaser for episode 3. And David Spira says we deliberately left that out for a number of reasons. One was that we didn't want to dilute the moment of the ending. Another reason was to leave Valve open on episode 3. And he continues by saying, we're going to try and do something pretty ambitious for that project. We don't want to overcommit. And that if you look at the episode 2 trailer that was shipped with episode 1, that there's radical differences between the trailer and the episode 2 that actually came out. So it's possible that they worked on it, but decided just not to do it.
Two-leg Hyundai? I don't know what are you talking about.
Did we ever had anything related to episode 3 in those repos? There's not really. So there's obviously no major episode 3 content in the repos. There's 1 to 3 maps that are possibly related to episode 3. The one, like Kirill said earlier, where the earliest experiments for killing a hunter chopper with a gravity gun were developed for episode 3. There's a Borealis interior map that's simply a hallway in the Borealis and nothing else. And there's a proto-underlined snow map that's basically just a stretch of land with snow on it. Did Valve ever use the gantry crane models in episode 2? You guys have any idea? Kirill?
No, I don't know which cranes does he mention. The true citizen of City 17 says that in Gmod it shows jumping in the air and throwing grenades. Well, the Gmod, I don't remember the exact name of that mod, but he just took liberty to create the AI from scratch. Because, like I said, there are no traces of Alien Assassin AI left in the code, in the leaked code, I mean. So it's just fan-made. It's not the actual AI.
Halfway Lambda asks, why did Valve change the storyline of the beta during 2001-2002? It's hard to say because we have no idea. I would say they probably wanted to shrink the game down a little. Half-Life 2 is generally a pretty big game as it is. And when they cut out the air exchange and the Arctic and all those other sections, they probably made the game a bit more manageable, and they sort of minimized the areas that maybe weren't working very well, that they had to produce totally different assets and textures for. I don't know. Kirill, do you have any thoughts?
I wouldn't say they exactly changed the storyline. The storyline remained the same. We arrive at City 17, we meet the old friends, we run out of the city through canals. I mean, this synopsis left pretty much the same. What was changed is smaller details, like, well, whole chapters, some characters, some gameplay features, some enemies, but not the whole storyline.
Yeah, like
the
some
remains the same.
Some chapters were taken out because storyline concepts were changed. Like once replacing the atmosphere with poisonous gases got cut, that made air exchange not make sense, and other things were taken out.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was just
air exchange stuck probably a short amount of time after the decision was made to have no more gas masks and stuff, because I think the last map that has the air exchange in it from the WC mappack actually has trees around the air exchange.
Yes, it does.
So yeah.
And the reason why they cut air exchange, for example, is because they simply didn't have enough time to finish it, and they some other things started to work much better than air exchange, like prison, for example.
Yeah, prison, exactly.
So prison just took the place of air exchange.
Other than that, go on.
Alright, is there 2001 beta combined solder? No, there isn't. If you mean the model, there isn't. But,
if there is, it's probably at Valve, or it doesn't even exist at Valve anymore because they deleted it.
We don't even have the 2002 solder. We only have texture for it, which was leaked recently. And it doesn't really fits the model we have.
Gamino, yeah. Like Evil Genius answered, both episodes were worked on at the same time. And once episode 1 was done, the episode 1 team started developing episode 3. But when the orange box became incredibly important and had to be shipped very quickly, the episode 3 team was pulled into episode 2 to help finish it up.
Is it true that the Jalopy was going to have announced the Zaps our zombies? Well, there is a test map. We actually can show it because it's also in this mod we played. I don't know if Scott can show it.
Yeah, I can.
Right now.
Give me just a moment.
Yeah, so it looks more like a test map rather than something that would be actually in the game. Well, they just tested how it would work in gameplay, and it seems they didn't like the results.
The Vigilant Alex. Oh, this isn't a cut content question, but it's worth answering. If you do think we will see episode 3 / Half-Life 3 in the future, what would those reasons be? Well, basically, those reasons are for Valve to discuss because Valve make Half-Life, well, used to make Half-Life. I would say that at some point in the next 30 to 40 years, we might see a Half-Life 3. I don't think Valve are completely, have decided to never make Half-Life again. But right now they're just focusing on online games. They're focusing on making Dota into a bigger brand. So right now Half-Life is not a priority for them. This is the test map.
Yes. Here's the map with Cowpuncher.
How do you use it? What button do you press?
Mouse click 1, left mouse.
This is one of few maps we used to test ideas for stuff for Jalopy. So there was this Cowpuncher, and there was that Zapper you mentioned earlier.
I almost don't think this was a very serious idea, because this would be such a goofy thing to have in a game.
Yeah.
Can you load the Zapper thing? Hey, Scott. Can you load the Zapper thing?
Yeah. Sorry, I was having fun.
Yeah, so here it is.
Here's baseball. So there's this one as well, which is the baseball bat thing.
Oh. Yeah.
Why is it called the Cowpuncher? I guess because it's based off of one of those things that you stick on the front of a locomotive and it sort of like...
Yeah, it's like a historical name.
Yeah. And this is the Zapper. This one's cool.
Well, storyline speaking, it could be some mod that those guys inside the mechanical shop could install.
I could see this one making a little more sense. It's not super goofy looking.
Maybe this was a thing for episode 3 that they were working as well.
Yeah.
Speeden's alt rumors that some files of particle testing before episode 2 release spoiled Death Beeline.
Yes, true.
Yeah, I heard about that, but the funny thing is I think that those animations were totally unrelated, like they were related to...
I think it wasn't animations, but it was file names which were mentioned in closed captions, or I don't remember the exact name of the file. But there was a file in Particle Benchmark with the list of all sound files. And
Yeah.
by the names of those sound files, people guessed that Eli was to die.
What do you think NPC Surface was used for purpose of it?
I'm not sure, but
I think
it definitely looked like something they used for Portal 2.
Yeah.
So I would say that it was probably related to episode 3 in some way. And I would say maybe it was the Hydra. I think there's like a reference, right, in NPC Surface
Yes,
to
yeah.
Hydra's texture.
Yes, the text was
Go
called
on.
Hydra or something.
Yeah. But like you said, yeah, it ended up being used for Portal 2. It's called the Blobulator technology, and before Portal 2 used it, it was actually used for one of the directed design experiments that Valve did immediately after shipping the Orange Box. And one of those experiments, one of the projects was this NPC surface kind of thing that would basically attack Combine soldiers, dynamically reform itself.
The interesting thing about it is Ken Birdwell, the creator of Hydra, he mentioned in Racing the Bar book that he wanted to remake Hydra AI into something like Antlion AI. So what this NPC surface is, it's possibly, since it uses Hydra's texture, it's possibly something he came up with while experimenting.
Yeah, and then Ken Birdwell's team did this directed design experiment with the Blobulator with NPC surface. The project was called Shirley Temple or something.
Then again, it's our speculation, nothing else.
Yeah. Are there any beta maps with the Hydra? Yeah, there's a lot of beta maps with the Hydra. I think D3 under 01 has like 10 Hydras.
No. Actually, the first map we were to meet Hydra at was called D1 under 05. And this map was created in spring 2003. Well, obviously they planned to add Hydra earlier in game, but no gameplay maps were created, or at least we don't have them. And so we were to meet Hydra sometime after escape from Kleiner's lab. And it was to be on 2 last maps inside City 17 before canals outside. And also we were to meet Hydra later in game during the final chapters, during the street wars after we lose Alex.
Halfway Lambda asks, was Half-Life 2 originally going to be a horror game? For example, the Citadel ambient sound in beta was very horrifying. Half-Life 2 was initially meant to be... Half-Life 2 now, that retail Half-Life 2 is pretty dark, but the original Half-Life 2 was going to be much, much darker, right? Like one of the first NPCs in the game was the Stalker. And Mark Laidlaw said that they did a lot of exploration for Half-Life 2 on horror stuff like Dark City, Jacob's Ladder, the Warsaw Ghetto, lots of imagery of torture and evil. So it wasn't meant to be a horror game, but it was meant to be much sort of darker than Half-Life 1 was.
Yes. And the purpose of those sounds, like you mentioned, they were just to cause some, some bad feelings.
Just some extra tension.
Yeah.
The retail sounds for the Citadel are pretty horrifying, actually. They're really well made. It's incredible sound design, and it's really simple. It's David Lynch does it. If anyone in the chat is a big fan
He
of
did.
David Lynch and Twin Peaks, he uses just slowing down a jazz song by about, I don't know, 100 or 1,000 times. When he slowed down a jazz song by 10,000 times, it sounds absolutely horrifying. David Lynch did it in Twin Peaks 2017, and Valve did it in The Citadel.
Alright, I guess this is the moment where we should end the stream. I mean, where we should come to the end. So what we just showed you were two mods made by Half-Life 2 beta fans, based on recently leaked Half-Life 2 episodic beta maps. And we also, during the stream, we told you much stuff about things cut from episode 2. And well, we hope you enjoyed the stream. About 2001 Half-Life 2 storyline.
Are we going to have another stream in the future? Yes.
Of course.
So eventually we're going to stream the 2002 storyline, then 2003.
Yes.
And I'm assuming then just random maps and E3 stuff.
And by the way, just today I heard that another mod team is going to release their mod about episodic beta stuff. So stay tuned, because in the next few days, or well, maybe a week, you will see. Well, it's possible we will make a stream right after the release of the mod. So yeah, just stay tuned. So we just told you about episode 2, and well, eventually there will be streams about episode 1 and Lost Coast.
Yeah.
So see you guys all later, I guess.
All right, thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for questions. Bye-bye.
Yes, goodbye.